Look what they're doing right now, the truckers in Canada. That's the human instinct.
Yes.
That's the defiant middle finger celebration of autonomy and good over evil. So Canadians are great people, but some of them, like Americans and everybody else in the world, got so stoned that their brains got burnt. Comfortably numb is uncomfortably dumb, and Neil Young's the poster child for that. I mean, rocking in the free world, but he wants to censor people? Hey, Neil, choose one. You can't do both, you dirtbag.
So first question, because I'm just going to dive right in since you need to get back to it. So I know that you're from Michigan.
Yeah.
And I'm from Toledo, Ohio. Are you familiar?
That's a suburb of Detroit. I love Toledo. I started playing rock and roll in Toledo in 1962.
In 1962?
Yes.
So you've been to Toledo?
Yeah, you think? Yeah. Actually, it's all Ted country in the hinterland. Yes.
Oh, yes. So, but my question is with you being from Michigan, with you being familiar with Toledo, Ohio, which is where I grew up, what happened in the Midwest? What happened to freedom-loving the Midwest?
Well, obviously, the evil forces of Marxism and communism and liberalism that the Democrats embrace and that the fake Republicans embrace, that's all horrible enough. But worse than all of that, and the facilitator of all of that evil, is apathy. I watched Detroit. Christy, when I was born in Detroit, it was 1948. It was the arsenal of democracy. What a great place to be born, where we defeated the evil Japanese Empire and the Nazi devils, and we rejoiced in the work ethic and the dedication to be the best that you can be. I mean, come on, how radical is that? And so I was raised in an environment of discipline with my dad, who was a drill sergeant in World War II in the U.S. Army Cavalry, and he disciplined us children. I think it's called parenting. In fact, if you met my sons and daughters and grandkids, you'll see that discipline and loving proper parenting is still alive and well. So I watched Detroit get stoned and drunk all around me. I've been clean and sober for 73 years, which is why I can form syllables and the president can't. And I watched good people turn into hippies and dirtbags. And they lost touch and they didn't care. They didn't vote. They didn't vet candidates.
But at the same time, that was a generation that was generally mistrusting of the government. So what happened with this generation where they're just like, okay, yes, I'll do whatever you want?
That is amazing, because I was there when Detroit burned down in '67, and I was there when the government killed the students at Kent State. I was there when the Democratic Convention turned against the youth and the corrupt Chicago police. Not all of them, but enough of them. So, I was so obsessed with my Amboy Duke music and learning guitar adventure from his Lord Chuck Berry, that I didn't understand the drug cult morphine. I never partook. I saw people drooling and puking and stumbling and dying. I go, well, I should probably avoid that. And plus, I was so engulfed in the musical adventure that and I'm a bow hunter. I kill deer with a sharp stick. If you're drunk or stoned, you're gonna have to buy chicken, because getting close to a deer with a bow and arrow is the ultimate challenge. And so pursuing that ultimate martial arts of archery and bow hunting, aim small, miss small, mystical flight of the arrow, in collaboration with the same approach to my guitar playing, I didn't know what Vietnam was. I didn't know what communism was. I graduated from the American anti-education system. So I didn't figure it out literally until the heroes of Vietnam were coming home. Just a corrupt, immoral war. It wasn't even a war. I don't know what it was. But they would share with me their love of my standing up for gun ownership, the Second Amendment, constitutional rights, in my rock and roll radio interviews. So all of a sudden, I'm surrounded by people much more educated than I am and much more worldly wise than I am, sharing their support and appreciation for me supporting the self-evident truth, God-given individual right to keep and bear arms. Because I always talk about it, because I love guns and I love marksmanship and I love the discipline of tactical training. And so the military and law enforcement found their way to the Ted Nugent camp, and they supported me. So I'm surrounded by people who pursued and achieved a situational awareness so that they're prepared for anything, to be a good father, a good husband, a good neighbor, a good American. And meanwhile, everybody else is getting stoned and drugged and drunk and stupid and comfortably numb, which is actually uncomfortably dumb. And they went from going against the military-industrial complex, which I was clueless about in '68. And I did my draft physical, and I was in Oakland Community College, so I had a 1Y, which wasn't a deferment, but they were ending the draft, thank God, of an immoral war. And I saw the hippies go from anger at abuse of authority, which I think was their first impetus, then becoming so comfortably numb that they didn't care about anything. And I'll give you a perfect example that historical evidence will drive home. The MC5, a Detroit band of supernatural musical powers, tight like James Brown. They're black heroes. They pursue groove and rhythm and outrage and defiance. Little Richard, fun, but defiance. Then they started getting stoned more and more, and their tight music got to be sloppy. And their revolutionary against Big Brother got soft, got misdirected and confusing. And I love the guys, great musicians, great men, but they fell for the lie of peer pressure. And my great hero guitar player, he went to prison because of his drug abuse, all of them drug abuse. We've lost so many of them. His name is Wayne Kramer, great man. He's come back. But that is an example of where society went from.
Well, I mean, as long as we're on this subject, and I know I'm not going to get much more time with you. So how did the man that wrote Rocking in the Free World become for censorship? Explain that one to me. Neil Young calling for censorship. Now he's kicked off of Spotify.
Number one, he's a Canadian, so he started at the back of the shit kicker line. And I love my Canadian friends. Look what they're doing right now, the truckers in Canada. That's the human instinct.
Yes.
That's the defiant middle finger celebration of autonomy and good over evil. So Canadians are great people, but some of them, like Americans and everybody else in the world, got so stoned that their brains got burnt. Have Ozzy form a sentence for you. And I love the man. But comfortably numb is uncomfortably dumb. And Neil Young's the poster child for that. I mean, rocking in the free world, but he wants to censor people? Hey, Neil, choose one. You can't do both, you dirtbag. He's just a sad, and I hope he's healthy and happy, but I think his brain is so burned, he doesn't know what happy is anymore. If he's rocking in the free world, then he wants to censor somebody who's bringing information from world-renowned virologists and epidemiologists and calling that misinformation, but he's going to quote Joe Biden as the decree of, are you kidding me? So all we can do is pray.
I mean, we're all trying to figure this out, so I thought maybe you would know.
I do know. When you do that much mind-destroying chemicals upon yourself, your brain is burnt, and you struggle to find logic, truth, and common sense. Neil Young has no common sense. He's out of his mind. And all you can do is pray for him and ignore his stupidity. That's what I do.
Well, thank you. Is there anything else you wanted to share? I know you have to get on stage.
No, go nuts. Truth, logic, and common sense turns me on. I'm addicted to freedom. I'm drunk on liberty and life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. If you get in my way, I'll stomp the living shit out of you.
Very good.